Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to episode 555. Kind of a numeric palindrome? I don't really know.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, let's say it is. Of Film Bastards. My name's Ian Loring, and as always, I'm joined by...
Matt Foster, hello everybody.
And your regularly scheduled Becky is hungover and didn't make the film.
Yep.
On this week's show, we are covering the hotly buzzed about movie's widest release ever, and made about $3 million in the US this weekend. Oops. The Substance. And yeah, very much looking forward to talking about that.
I think
there's been a cut.
It seems like it makes a lot in France for no reason.
Yeah, it does feel like it would make a lot in France. Yeah, you're right. And I feel like it might do all right over here as well. I'm kind of intrigued to see just how well it opens. But anyway, we'll talk about it. I think we've also got a couple of trailers. We've got a little bit of what we've been watching. As said on the last show, we're only recording 4 days after the last record because I'm basically unavailable every day this week. So, yeah, needs must. Yeah, so like I say, it might be a short show, but you had like 2.5 hours last week, so
yeah,
that'll probably be right.
Bumper pack one last week, didn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are a Pod Syndicate podcast, so please do listen to like-minded shows such as Chin Stroker vs. Punter, Entertainment Landfill, The Good, the Bad, the Odd, and the Rewatch Project, and others. And let's get to it. So, trailers. A trailer came out for a sequel to a film that I was stunned when Mark reminded me that he has never seen.
Yep.
So, before we talk about that trailer, Mark, you finally watched Den of Thieves.
I did, yeah. Go. Right. So, before I watched it, I went back and rewatched the trailer. Just to sort of... I couldn't understand why I haven't watched this, because it feels incredibly like me. It feels like my bag. And do you know what I think it was? The reason why I've not watched it yet? Because it's the sort of thing where Becky's not that interested in it, because she's not that interested in like the gritty LA crime films. And it would take me like 4 lunch breaks to watch it, because it's over 2 hours long. So I think that might be one of the reasons why I've not watched it yet. But then, so I thought, right, Bex was out last night. I thought, I'll get home. I was at work till late. I'll get home. I'll do my elliptical training. And then I'll go have something to eat. And I'll watch Den of Thieves. So, sat down, started to watch Den of Thieves. Literally, like, you know, occasionally where a film will start and within 5 minutes, you just go, yeah, this is my vibe. I am now all in with this movie. That was me, but literally within 30 seconds, I was like, all right, you've got it's a shot in the air over the top of like downtown LA, but not like the nice downtown LA, and then you've got and instantly I went, is this Cliff Martinez? Like straight away for the score, and it was.
Nice.
And then it started going on about how many bank robberies there were, and I was like, this is going to be fucking great. Like, this is going to be great. But, and now here's the thing. Just spoiler alert, I did think it was great. But I thought, right, is this going to be, like, if, for instance, oh, God, my brain's gone dead. The Schwarzenegger one that I fucking love that everyone else thinks is shit.
Oh, fuck. The David Ayer one.
Yeah. Why's my brain gone completely dead?
Sabotage.
Yeah. If this is like Sabotage, but slightly more skewed towards, you know, could happen in real life and not basically a human cartoon, this is going to be great. And then, like, about sort of half an hour into it, I was going, hang on a minute. This is like a bit more like heat for a generation that's lived through 9/11. it's
Sure.
It never gets too bombastic. It's very story driven to the point of where I was going, right, oh, this feels fucking complicated for a Gerard Butler and 50 Cent movie. But it's really good. It's not just like bombastic, silly good. It's a genuinely like properly great heist movie. And then I was starting to think of like the last great heist movie of this kind. So you can call something like Drive, for instance, a heist movie, but I wouldn't say you could pitch Drive next to Den of Thieves as a heist movie, or even like something like Heat as a heist movie. So I was thinking of like the last great actual full-blown heist movie. And I would say you're probably looking at something like The Town. I think would come close there. And I want you thinking, this is like a genuinely like high tier heist movie. You've got fucking Gerard Butler just wandering around as basically Al Pacino, but as if he was in LA and it was just it was like I say that post 9/11 with fucking Patriot Act powers that can just fucking essentially just do shit that they're not supposed to. They wouldn't have been able to do at that point. And then you've got a crew that looks a little bit like it should be out of Sabotage, but is actually quite good. I still always have an issue with the idea of, if you're going to be a career criminal, maybe don't get neck tattoos. Just maybe don't. You know, I've got neck tattoos, and I think it would hinder my ability to be a career criminal now at this point. And I just don't think I can run fast enough. But it's got a really good story, but the story, like the heist, is actually almost secondary to it. It's this like force of nature of Gerard Butler going up against, and again the names are just silly. The guy who's just called Merriman, but then I thought that was like his code name or something like that, and then I found out, like, so I went to see who played him, so I clicked up on IMDb and was like, oh, fuck off, he's called Ray Merriman. That's just, this film just gets better as it goes. There. It's not quite as good as Bad Boys 2, but there's a bit in it where 50 Cent's daughter is going to prom, and the doorbell goes, and the guy's going to prom date comes in, and he's not being like a dick or anything like that, but he's been like quite kind of like charming and cocky, and you know, doing the whole, oh, I never knew you had a sister, oh, this is actually my mother, and he's like, ha ha ha, and then like 50 Cent walks over and he's like, hi Mr. Black, and being like really confident, and 50 Cent goes, can I just have a quick word with you in this room? Opens the door and the entire crew is just in this room, all in like fucking vest, just looking ripped to fuck, and the kid just like, shit. And then they kind of basically go, like, give him a bit of a rundown of what will happen if he does anything wrong and anything like that, and he walks out and they all just burst into fucking hysterics, and it's just great. And then you get a proper heist that feels, you know, there's no explosions going on. It is just a chase going through. I was just really taken back in how sort of believable it actually is throughout, and how it never veers off into the, I mean, come on, that sometimes that I kind of expected a heist movie that had Gerard Butler and 50 Cent and, you know, Ice Cube's kid in it. Really good. And then the trailer for the sequel looks like the movie that I just described. I was surprised this wasn't.
That's a that's a great way of putting it, dude. I mean, I'm really, really up for it.
Oh god, yeah.
But it in a let's fucking go, you fucking slags kind of a way, you know, as opposed to like the weirdly Junior Heat vibe of the first film. Yeah,
it's weirdly low key, and there's a great in Dead of Thieves. There's a great supporting performance by the one of the guys that is part of Gerard Butler's crew, basically the best way to describe it, it's the black officer that he works with. He's in Sons of Anarchy, and he plays quite a big sort of on-off part in Sons of Anarchy. And when he turned up, I was like, oh, that guy's not great. He's a little bit wimpy, a little bit simpery. And then he started talking, I was like, holy shit, he is like that guy is completely different to the character that I am used to. This is already pretty cool. And then he turns out to be fucking, like, badass, but good at his job. They're not all just, like, crazy.
Nice. Yeah, I get on with Den of Thieves. I think that the idea for this one, I kind of wish, and I'm pretty sure Gerard Butler going, like, no, I need to team up with you, I'm desperate for money, blah, 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 is going to be bollocks. At least I hope it is, because of, like, the first film and how O'Shea, like, spoiler, like, O'Shea Jackson Jr. completely fucks him over.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm a bit, oh god, is it just Gerard Butler going fucking native? I'm a little unsure about that, but at the same time, there is some pleasure in watching Butler go native as well. But yeah, I think what you said was perfect. This looks like it might be the film the first looked like it was going to be, for better or worse.
Yeah, that's it. You know, and Den of Thieves was like a weirdly, like, surprise hit as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, like, you know, so Bill Simmons, like, big sports podcaster, also does a film podcast called The Rewatchables, and he talks about Den of Thieves on that quite a lot. They have, like, categories on the show, and what's it called? The Den of Thieves Benny Hanna scene stealing location of the film.
I mean, the Benny Hanna bit is good in the film.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. It's like, sorry, excuse me, I've got a bit of a cough today. It has had a weird imprint. Has Den of Thieves, and I'm almost not surprised why.
That's it. I think it's because it's just a really solid movie, and I think I was reading a thing saying that they'd always sort of planned to do a sequel, but then it had just, things happened, and it kind of ended up getting kicked down the line more and more and more. But and every time they sort of it got delayed, you know, through, like, Gerard Butler like having his house burnt down during, like, the Miami fires, and then there was other bits that happened, and COVID and bits like that. But then the director just said, but the studio kept sort of coming to us going, you know, this just does absolute massive numbers on streaming services all the time. And that, weirdly, it's no longer on streaming services, but apparently when it was on Netflix, it was persistently in the top 20 movies, like, all the time on Netflix. Like, holding, like, solid between, like, 15 and 20, like, pretty much consistently all of the time. Which, for a movie that isn't, like, you know, it wasn't a blockbuster or anything like that, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, totally. And it, like you say, it's been a long time coming. It feels like it's going to be an interesting one to see how this does in the cinema, though, because it does kind of feel like, is this one that people would just go, I'd really, really like to watch this at home?
Yeah.
Like, is it actually going to be one that people are going to go out for? Like, you and I will.
Yeah. But it's going to get everybody out to.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there we are. Den of Thieves. Good.
What else? Right, what else have we got trailer-wise?
Can
I be really controversial?
Go on.
Blitz looks a bit shit, doesn't it?
Blitz looks really, really worthy.
It just looks a bit... So there's a film I'm going to talk about when we do what we've been watching, that I enjoyed. But and I'm going to link it to Blitz in a really weird way later on. But so I'll cover that later on. I'm going to link it back to that. I'm going to swing back around like a Billy Connolly sketch. But yeah, it just looks really... I think with the accents and the look of it and everything, it looks a little bit like... I know I say it's quite a bit, but it does look like a Sky One special. Or a BBC special. And I just...
yes.
I just don't know whether it's... I just don't know if that can be asked. I'm sure I'm hoping there must be more to it, with it being Steve McQueen, and also is it just they're just doing that to grab that audience to get them to go to the cinema for it? But then I'm also worried that, well, what if it's not? What if it is just the film that it looks like?
He's got a bit of bite. He's got some, he's got edge. Has Steve McQueen. But I don't know. It just feels very. Let's go get some awards and some prestige, and it could be wrong, but yeah, the trailer had me less up for actually sitting and watching it, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and it's for a guy who is a ex-noted photographer. It looked really generic, like colour palette wise. It looked really, like if I'd have not had a clue who the director was, and it had not said, and he'd have said who directed this, I'd have been like, I don't know, some fucking guy who directed a few episodes of Doctor Who or some shit. I wouldn't have thought, oh, it's an Oscar-winning director who's a sir.
Yeah, I'm just having. So who shot the fuck out? Yorick Lasso, Graham's son, was it? Let's have a look.
What if it is now?
That'd be great. Shot Little Women. That looked alright. Shot Personal Shopper, Bigger Splash. Klaus. No, so he's a Sayers' guy then, is he?
Yeah, I mean, Oil Lovers Left Alive, good-looking film. High Life, good-looking film. There's some good-looking films in there.
Yeah. But I know what you mean, though. But, yeah. I don't know. We'll see. It's Apple. It's got it's going to have budget behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Comes out in November.
Look at the cast, Saoirse Ronan, Harris Dickinson, Kathy Burke's in there. That's going to be interesting. And that's not Paul Weller. It is Paul Weller. Yeah, Paul Weller's in it.
Paul Weller.
Paul Weller, yeah, and it is Paul Weller. It's not like just somebody who has the same name as Paul Weller. It is Paul Weller.
Right.
Stephen Graham's there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, I hope I'm wrong. Just very, very whelmed by this trailer.
Yeah, that's where I'd go with it. I'm just a bit like, and
yeah,
I hope there's something else out that weekend.
We got anything else?
I've not. No, very, very. It's only been 4 days, hasn't it?
It's only been a couple of days on it, for fuck's sake. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I'm surprised we had two.
Yeah. No, quite. Hey, Den of Thieves. Looking forward to that. Eh?
Fuck yeah.
Okay, so let's do this then. We are talking The Substance, directed by Coralie Fargiat. I don't know. Apologies. Starring Demi Moore, Margaret Qualley, and Dennis Quaid. A fading celebrity decides to use a black market drug, a cell-replicating substance that temporarily creates a younger, better version of herself. Mark, The Substance, we've been hearing about it for months. What did you think?
It's... The thing is, I love it whenever we hear the phrase, oh, they don't make films like this anymore, or they don't make challenging cinema anymore, and all this lot. And I always think, that's bollocks. It's just bollocks. Whenever anyone says it, it's bollocks. And I think that, sort of like the past, I would say, since December of last year, I think nothing more has proved the fact that Poor Things and The Substance have had wide releases, across Europe and the US, and it's a wonderful thing. This is, it's not perfect, and I know you have it's quite interesting this because you have a body horror thing, don't you? I think that's been well covered. I don't as much of a body horror thing, but I don't like needles, which I am thoroughly aware of when I'm covered in tattoos that's a little bit weird, but I really don't like needles. So needles, even if it's like not even needle trauma, even if it's just like when she's putting like the needle into her arm to do the drip and bits like that just it gets me. So I was there watching going, this is already grim, and then there's loads of needles involved. There's a lot of needles involved. It's definitely not perfect. It's too fucking long, but I don't know which bit I'd cut out of it. So maybe it's exactly the right length.
I mean, I would... I know what I'd maybe cut out of it. I mean, the thing is, I know you wouldn't agree. When Margaret Qualley first emerges...
Yeah.
How long's she looking at herself for?
Oh, she's looking at herself for... I'll be honest, right? It's going to make me sound a bit like a... I'm genuinely just because I know Ian as well as I know Ian. I was like going... It's not that Ian... I was thinking, it's not that Ian's going to be uncomfortable with this, but I know that Ian will be going, it's gone on a bit long, this.
yeah, I mean, that, and... Tell me the other bit that I thought went on for too long.
The fact that they repeatedly go back to the workout. I'm doing Buddy Ed's podcast drink.
Yeah, you got it.
The workout video. It's like, that's not a workout. And it's almost like by the fourth time they do it, the director's gone, shit, we need to get you to say things because we completely forgot this is a workout thing.
It is. I mean, it's funny.
Yeah.
Though. I mean, that which is a vein that runs through the film. But sorry, but yeah, pretty much, man. You had it spot on there.
Yeah. But then it just every time you think that you've got like the craziness figured out, it goes somewhere else. Like there's all spoilers all the time. When she has that flash in her head of the activator. And then she is running back. You're there thinking, fuck, is she going to come out as like a child or something like that? And then when you see like the eye thing and like fucking 4 pupils appear, you're like, oh, fuck, what's going to happen? And the thing there is, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if there's going to be like fucking 7 of them or whatever. And then it comes up and it's basically just a thing. And you're like, fair enough then, go on then. And in the back of your mind, you're going, that thing is going to put on the dress, isn't it, and go to the New Year's show. It's going to do it, isn't it? Yeah.
Mark.
There we fucking go.
Another question. I said that there was a moment when you realise something's about to happen that you would howl at. Do you know the moment I'm referring to?
Is it the bit where there's 2 of them and the Margaret Qualley just goes to a killer?
No, even though that was funny. No, I can't remember the order it is in, but it's either the picture of Demi Moore and then the super glue, or the other way round.
No, the picture of the picture of Demi Moore, when she super glues onto her face, that was fucking genius. Yeah, I like the fact that it's. Do you know what I really like about that is they've not made either character, either version, so Sue or Elizabeth. Elizabeth isn't, she's a fading star and everything like that. She's not an idiot. She's not she's not simpering or anything like that. She's a very capable person. And then they make Sue a very capable person. They're both very bright, very capable people. But then when it becomes the Monstero Elisa Sue, Which I think is amazing that was Margaret Qualley in a fucking costume. Is brilliant as well. When it becomes that, it just becomes a fucking idiot. And I really liked that, the fact that they built that up to then have that. It was really quite something that just the duality of what had gone on had driven this person into just the absolute despair and pit of stupidity and monstrousness was really quite something. It's great satire. But yeah, I mean, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not perfect, and it is too long. But I was thinking about it, and I was also reading some Letterboxd reviews, and there's not many negative ones, but there were people saying "Oh, it's fucking ridiculous how is a workout show one of the biggest shows on TV, and why is Dennis Quaid just so that character, and all this kind of stuff." And I was just do you know what? Actually, it makes me like it more. It's just you can't get a sense of time.
Nope.
She's got a flat screen TV, but she's using a fucking corded phone. It does seem like the biggest show on TV is a fucking fitness show. It could take place any time in the last 30 years, but it also couldn't take place any time in the last 30 years.
But my other bit there, my answer to that would be the biggest shows, outright just shows that the majority of people watch on TV, not on streaming and bits like that, because that is where the majority of people still watch TV. TV is still a big thing. Is, things like Dancing with the Stars, Dancing on Ice, and things like that. And morning shows are a big thing. They get a lot of viewers. I could see it being, that a morning show workout thing could end up becoming a big thing. They were in the 90s. They were huge. So, yeah, you said, the sense of time thing. Yeah, that's just a little bit no, you Letterboxd reviewer wouldn't watch it, but it's not saying you'd watch it, you idiot.
Yeah, no, quite. So, yeah, the thing is, if it didn't go through the Rubicon of being, at times actually a little upsetting, I felt sorry for Demi Moore's character, but then it pushes through into the ridiculous with Monstro Elizasu, and that fucking title card when that popped up, just incredible.
Yep.
Incredible. But then by the end, that last image, which is just a hell of a thing.
Yeah.
And it did go back to funny again for me, because it was do you know what, actually? The Demi Moore character, she's 100% drunk the Kool-Aid that she needs to be a star, and they make that incredibly clear at the end, where the face literally fucking melts away on her own Hollywood star.
Yep.
And
then it's just scrubbed away in seconds.
Yeah, exactly. And I just which is it's an existentially kind of terrifying thought, but hey, we're all just fucking stardust, anyway. But it like I say, it pushed through that, and I just then reassessed the film in my mind of just this fucking pitch black comedy satire where there are absolutely varying degrees, but everyone in that film is horrible not right.
Yeah,
I suppose nobody's perfect, nobody's absolutely clear cut in it, and every single time Margaret or Sue, no, not Margaret, Sue or fucking I can't even remember her name now, but Elizabeth, sorry. Every time they get on the phone to the substance person, and it's just the same monotone delivery the entire time.
I like the fact that he's really clear. It's like where every time they go, she's not. He's like, no, it's you. And it's like the only person who is, I think, gets away with some element of, do you know what? You're not bad. Is the guy on the phone, but I'm fairly certain the guy on the phone almost seems like he's the same. Like there's the doctor guy as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's very clear on what you need to do, and it's very clear, you know, you cannot, it's 1 week each, you can't fuck with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, quite. It's like, he's offering this opportunity, but it's not like it's a monkey's paw kind of thing that he's given her. Like, if they use it correctly, then great, but it's just the fact that no fucker uses it correctly, because you got that old guy who was like the young hot guy earlier on as well, you know, and it's just, yeah, nobody uses it correctly, and that's not his fault.
No, that's it. I mean, it's a really brave and interesting performance. I don't usually like saying brave performances from people, because I always think it's a little bit like, well, what makes brave and what doesn't. But I think it is a brave performance from Demi Moore within this, because it's a, you know, it's somebody who's going, do you know what? People are going to watch this and kind of almost look at it and go, oh, is she playing like a version of herself? And she's very, very like honest and gone, I kind of am a little bit. You know, I did when I turned. When I turned 40, I became obsessed with fitness and had like a good 10 years where I was working out too much, and it made me it aged me wrong, because I got too skinny, I put on too much muscle, my fat was too low, and all of these things, and it was just because it wasn't because I wanted to look like that then. It's because I wanted to make sure that I still looked okay when I was like older. So it made no sense. He said, you know, and it did. Said it did affect like my self confidence, etc., and bits like that. Said so when this role came across, she said I just saw it and thought, I think I can bring an element of like of the situational of I know how that feels. I can bring that to it, but also the other side of it is I'm quite comfortable with how I am now. So I'm also kind of alright with it as well. And I'm quite comfortable to say that, you know, yeah, if I was going to pick a younger, better version of myself, it would be Margaret Qualley.
Yeah. No, exactly. It's an incredibly well thought out piece of work with the casting. I mean, I read that Ray Liotta was supposed to be in the Dennis Quaid role and passed away, and that would have been interesting. Yeah. But I almost I feel like Ray Liotta couldn't do the fucking creepy smiley shit that Dennis Quaid's doing in this.
I think Ray Liotta would have been funnier, but I think when Ray Liotta does, because Ray Liotta could do sinister and he can do comedy, I don't think he could. I think when he did sinister funny, I think it always veered more towards funny, whereas this is just a fucking idiot.
Yes, yeah.
And that is it. I don't think Ray Liotta could just play a fucking idiot, because you know that he's Ray Liotta. Whereas with Dennis Quaid, he seems to be able to play a fucking idiot. The bit where he's like, where she tells him, I can only do like 1 week on, 1 week off, and he sits down and he's like, I want you for this role. And you think he's about to say no, and he's like, so we will work around your schedule.
Because that's it. As like horrible as he is to Demi Moore, he seems to be genuinely very nice to Margaret Qualley.
Yeah,
you know,
and he never. It's interesting the fact
he's
that
never rapey.
No, he never tries to crack onto her. Or
no,
he's just like, this is great. You're exactly what I'm looking for, and I really like that for the director and writer that she hasn't made it so that he's leery with her or anything like that. He's just a piece of shit who wants a really successful TV show and doesn't care about the person at the side of it, just as long as he gets the ratings.
And then you've got that last 20 minutes, which is just absolutely bravura stuff. Like, it is proper mouth wide open. What the fuck am I in a cinema watching?
That's it. You're there just going, I kind of know how we've got here, but where the fuck is it going? And then when its head gets cut off, and then another two start to come out, but there's just blood going every fucking where.
Yeah.
He's going, what's going on? Why is it so brilliant? And the fact that everybody else is just screaming and running around, and Dennis Quaid is just sat crying to himself but doesn't move. It's just brilliant to watch in a cinema.
and that's it. It's obviously it's making a point, and it's it is the sledgehammer to smash a walnut stuff, but when you've got that last 20 minutes being that last 20 minutes, it's clear it knows it.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just bad filmmaking. It's all the intentionality of this film. It is just incredible.
One of the fun things, and I'm going to make Becky go and watch because I think she'd really quite like it, is Becky has frequently said, and has specifically said about Margaret Qualley before, because there was a film she was in, is it Drive By Dolls, was it?
Drive Away Dolls.
Drive Away Dolls, that was it. Where she spends a good proportion of it in just a vest top and her pants, like she does in this, actually. Mm-hmm. And I think somebody commented on it saying people don't, girls don't just walk around in their pants and a vest top. They just don't do it. And I remember Beck's response to it was, if I looked like that, I fucking would. So they do if they look like that. And so, yeah, it was quite interesting. She's sort of... She's made jokes about it since, because Bex has lost a bit of weight and bits like that, and so it's been a running joke around about the walking on your pants because you feel better about yourself, and that just is it's almost like a character trait that Sue has, where she's like, I look great, I'm gonna wear as little as I can, just wander around in it. To the point of where she actively goes out and buys smaller things and puts them in the wardrobe. But you've got, even and again, like you say, it's not subtle, but the literal, there's a billboard of, there's one thing, her younger, better, her better self, sharing a life with her better self, but then when she's not her better self, she literally has to sit there with her better self smiling at her, as a billboard in front of her, just looking at her every move. It's that is adding to the her spiraling into fucking craziness that's there. It's not subtle, but it doesn't need to be. It's satire. It's not supposed to be subtle. It's supposed to be in your face.
Yeah.
And the substance very much is in your face. Did you have any walkouts?
No, but there was only 5 people in there, and everybody was reacting to the last 20 minutes. I think people were enjoying it though.
I had a couple of walkouts, including a couple who walked in, and when you look at people and you think, why are you here? Why are you? Do you know what you're watching? And I was a little bit like that. I thought, because it was an older couple. And that's not normally there are plenty of older couples that that grew up and that were a little bit younger than us when things like fucking Cronenberg were popular. So it's not like older people don't love a bit of body horror. But they looked very much like older people. They were in like walking boots, and they had, they looked like old people. And then literally about 20 minutes in, they both just left. And then a woman who was who had come in on her own, who was maybe mid-20s. I think it was at the point of, where she where her knee, she can't get her knee to bend. She properly, like before the knee went, this girl properly noped out and just went, nope. I just got up, and because you could hear her say it, I just walked out.
Good. Yeah.
And a guy who was along, like, the other side of the aisle, the same row as me, as the girl got up and walked away, he just went, fair.
That's good.
There was some good reactions. I think the guy who was across the aisle to me, he was maybe about similar age to us. And when I stood up at the end of it, and I was just fucking laughing, like properly, just laughing. I almost broke into a fucking clap, but I was just laughing, just going fucking. And just looked across at him, and he just went. It was like, I hate myself, but that was great. And then I was like, yeah, kind of with you on that. That was great. It's fucking bonkers. I just... God bless you, movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was interesting as well, because apparently, because it's a working title production.
Yeah.
Which, and I was like, what the fuck's that about? Apparently, Universal had this, and were just like, fuck it, we don't know what to do with this. So they and Mubi acquired it, and I mean, working title. I mean, they're basically like rom-coms in documentaries by Asif Kapadia.
Yeah.
So for them to do this, more please.
Yeah.
Do this. I hope it pays off for Mubi. They paid like $15 million for the rights. And it did $3 million in the US, but it feels like it could have a long tail, and it'll do bananas for Mubi when it comes to their service.
I think that's it. I think that the for the substance, I think there's almost like a long game bit into it, in that a physical copy will sell copies of it. It'll do well for Mubi on there. And, for Mubi, there will be, within the next 5 years, I would say, probably at least 2, maybe 3 releases of this movie on physical media.
Sure, yeah.
And I think it'll be one that will quietly end up getting, like, in a couple of years' time, there'll be like another little run of it. It'll get like a weekend or something like that when it's back out. Next time that Coraline Fisher, I want to go with that. Next time she has a next film out, there'll be like screenings of The Substance again. I think out there, because it'll be one of those films that I think not fully but mildly permeates its way into like beyond like popular culture. But that not a lot of mainstream people have seen it or have started it and then gone, oh, no way. This is too weird for me. And I kind of like that.
Yeah, totally.
Also,
look, definitely not shit.
Also,
Great.
I'll say this.
Sorry, go on.
When Sue sees the exterminator thing and it's almost full and realises this fucking bitch just trying to kill me, which is the face she gives when she goes batshit and then she's just slamming her face into the upset. I was sat there going, "Ah, fucking hell! I'm worried because this is a big turn on."
Quelle surprise.
Yeah, this should be where most people go, all right, and nope out, and I'm there going, why does this make her more attractive? It's weird. I was kind of on her side by that point.
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, so was I, to be honest.
She's kind of a dick, but then it's also a little bit like, what did you expect?
I mean, yeah, because like when Demi Moore then tries to bring her back to life, it is a bit. I suppose there was a moment for me there where it was just like, right, what the fuck's actually happening here now? Like, why? But she is just conflicted, She yeah. But yeah, like I say, it's not perfect, but I kind of just don't care.
Yeah, even the bit of the fact that, well, hang on a minute, Elizabeth. You want to be a younger, better version of yourself. So why would you think that younger, better version of yourself would want to share it with you that is the older, less good version of that? You kind of... You're fulfilling your own prophecy a little bit there. And so there is that kind of psychological sort of dichotomy within it as well that is great. Also, last thing that I'll give my rating on it is the other bit. I really liked the package design of the substance. Like, it's a well presented like piece of kit. Mm-hmm. There's whoever did the graphic design for that. Well played to that person at the substance company.
Yeah, it's like a really classy subscription box.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. And I like the way that everything in it. You go, how's that going to work? Because there's no liquid. Oh, the one thing I would love to have seen that, to be honest, if it crops up, which wouldn't surprise me, if it crops up as one of like the stupid things that is in the physical media release, which is the instructions to the kit. I kind of want those.
Yeah. You can see that being a little insert inside the Blu-ray case for sure. You're right.
And I kind of want it now because I want to know. Because I'm looking at going, well, she must have read instructions that said the that the stabilizer thing, you have to inject it into the back, because she hasn't just randomly jumped to that. And also as well, I liked the fact that she was good at construction work as well, because that was like that wasn't easy, the shit she was doing there. That retiling into that doorway, that's pretty impressive. Yeah,
totally.
I'm somewhere between thanks I hate it, but I didn't hate it. So I'm gonna have to go definitely not shit, but I think I'm as close to a thanks I hate it as I've ever got, because I don't think I've ever used that rating. But I'm as close as I've got, but I don't hate it, so because I will watch it again. It's definitely not shit. What a great fucking piece of cinema that fucking thing is.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay. We move on. Do we move on? We move on. We move on. What have you been watching, dude?
So I covered Den of Thieves there. Me and Bex watched 30 Days of Night the other day. Because we wanted to watch something like horror-y, but I was like, I can't be bothered with something. I want something that's a little bit gritty but silly. And I think we'd one of us had mentioned, just in passing, I think, on the last recording, 30 Days a Night, and I was like, God, I haven't watched 30 Days a Night in a long time. I'm going to give that a go. And also, I wanted to watch something that was about 90 minutes. And so I thought, yeah, that'll fucking do. 30 Days a Night isn't actually 90 minutes long, it's closer to 2 hours. And it's David Slade, which always just fucking gets me, that it's the guy who ended up directing, the was it the third or the second Twilight film, which is wild.
Third one, yeah.
I feel like David Slade should have had a bigger movie career. 30 Days a Night's really good for the first 40 minutes and really good for the last 10 minutes. The problem is you've got a 40-minute chunk in the middle of it where it gets a bit boring, and that's not good when you're a near 2-hour vampire horror movie. It's fucking gnarly. I like the fact that it's set somewhere where there's just 30 days a night, and I like the fact it's ever so slightly different to the graphic novel. It's Josh Hartnett. It's Trapp's Josh Hartnett before he became Trapp's Josh Hartnett, and Ben Foster in the most Ben Foster of roles before Ben Foster roles were created. It's actually, I had a good time rewatching it though, but I just wish that middle 40 minutes was a little bit punchier than it actually is. But yeah, it looks fucking good. It's a good looking movie as well for one that is basically set the majoritively in darkness. It's a good looking movie. Right. So I also watched Fly Me to the Moon.
Yes.
Which I'm going to link weirdly to the Blitz trailer. In the sense
I mean, there's an Apple connection, but okay.
In the sense of, right, because I had this thought before I watched the Blitz trailer, but then the Blitz trailer kind of reinserted it. I have an issue with, in this country, in the UK, of how obsessed this country is with the Second World War. Like, it's borderline weird how obsessed this country is with the Second World War. And the reason why I think it is because it's the last time we did something as a nation that we can be perceived as being a great contribution. We were a key. We didn't win the war. I'm not going out with any bollocks like that. But we were a key member of the Allies that defeated Nazi Germany, along with France, America, and let's be honest, Russia. Within that, but we're obsessed with it, and I think that is the reason why. And I think that Americans, for the same reason, are fucking obsessed with the moon landing. Like, it is odd how obsessed they are with the moon landing, because that is almost like the last time they did something properly fucking just great for the sake of it. And it's that they perceive as great. I'm still of the thing of, I'm not a conspiracy theorist who doesn't think we land on the moon or anything like that, but I still am like, but why? All these things we have down here that you could have spent billions on, why? But they are obsessed with it. There's a lot that goes into it. And so, in the same context of, I don't really like things that just constantly whittle on about the Second World War, I'm now at the point where once the last person dies that served in the Second World War, we should maybe stop. We should maybe stop with all of the celebrations and the bits like that, and we should just go, can that just be history now? We don't need to constantly bring it up every 15 minutes. And I'm a little bit like, oh, fucking hell, the fucking moon thing. Why are you fucking so obsessed with the moon? But also, it's got Channing Tatum in it and Scarlett Johansson, so I wanted to give it a bit of a go. And it's got Jim Rash in it, and it's got Woody Harrelson in it. So, why not? It's really quite charming, Fly Me to the Moon. I'm going to say it.
Nice.
It's
nice.
Really... It is the most fucking... It's the most toasted marshmallow fucking of a movie you can probably get, in the sense that it's a bit gooey, there is a little bit of flavour there, it has no nutritional value whatsoever, and you will never be able to say that is the best toasted marshmallow I've ever had, and you won't remember where you were when you had it. But it's like, that's what it is. It's just, it has little moments where it gets a little bit deep and a little bit dramatic, but then after that, Scarlett Johansson. I don't want to go too much into what happens in the film and the story in it, because I'm aware that it's a 2024 movie that we're not doing as a main review, and so I know we are all spoilers all the time, but we often don't like to spoil pretty new movies that we aren't covering for feature reviews. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the crux of the story is that Scarlett Johansson's character is a marketing executive who is brought in to essentially to sell the idea of NASA and the moon landing to the American public, who have become a little bit disenfranchised with it. And as part of that, she's also told, oh, and by the way, you need to shoot an alternative moon landing just in case the footage we get from the moon landing either looks like shit or we don't get any because we don't land on the moon. And so you've got that going on. And the director of that is played by Jim Rash in a glorious and wonderful way. But it's Scarlett Johansson being really fucking charming and sort of snappy and putting on a whole host of different accents. And it's Channing Tatum kind of... He's not quite doing full-blown stupid Channing Tatum, but he's doing all-American boy Channing Tatum. So, like, he's very competent and very good, but he cannot get one over on her. She keeps getting... There's a running thread through it where at Kennedy there's a black cat, and Channing Tatum's character hates the black cat because he thinks it's unlucky, and so keeps trying to catch it, but cannot fucking catch it. So every so often he'll be having like a really serious conversation, usually with Ray Romano, because like Channing Tatum is head of essentially mission objectives there, and every so often he'll look to the side and go, "It's there again," and he'll start running after this cat. But it's not done in like a ridiculous sort of fucking Leslie Nielsen kind of way. It is just a guy who wants to catch this fucking cat. It will be a great, just like whenever is it Dancing on Ice or Strictly Come Dancing that you like to watch him?
Strictly Come Dancing.
Yeah. Like if you need like a post that movie on a Saturday night when when it's got when the fucking clocks have gone back and you've had to whack the fucking heating up and you're there going, do you know what? Gonna have a little couple of fucking martinis or whatever if you're drinking back at home or not. At that point, this will stand up quite nicely to that. I had a great time with it. It's fun. It's breezy. It's maybe a touch too long. Maybe like 10-15 minutes too long because it is a little bit over 2 hours. But it is charming enough to get away with it. And Woody Harrelson playing the... essentially like... He's basically somewhere between Secret Service and CIA, but he just keeps appearing in rooms out of nowhere. It's just a great running joke that just goes on loads. Like there's one bit where you look at it and go, how long have you been in that room waiting?
Nice.
It's good.
Nice, good.
It's good. And the good thing is, do you know what? If Scarlett Johansson is just going to bang out films like this, and this should have done better at the cinema, they should have marketed it better. And I really think the reason why this didn't do better at the cinema is because A, I don't think it was marketed very well in the US, and B, nobody outside the US, with the exception of a very small fringe group of people, gives a shit about the fucking moon landing. Stop it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In the same way as only a fringe group of people in America that probably do reenactments give a shit about the fucking Blitz.
It's a weird... It's kind of a weird high concept for, like, this day and age. And I suppose, like, Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum, you'd think they'd work, but then again, I don't know, neither have actually sold a film on their own merits in a while now.
Yeah, that's it. But they're both good in it. They're both in great form. But Jim Rash, Ray Romano, and Woody Harrelson steal every single scene they're in.
Yeah, sure.
And Daniel Pemberton. When you see Daniel Pemberton's name come up as the music by, you go, do you know what? Even if this film is not great, the score's going to be a banger, and it's a great score.
Yeah. Nice.
What have you been watching then, bud?
Just a couple of things for me this time around. So I was looking for something to watch on Netflix yesterday morning. I was up before the girls. Sorry, excuse me. And I was just like, fuck it. Do you know what? Yeah, I'll give this a go. I think I enjoyed it in the cinema. Pacific Rim Uprising.
I think we did enjoy this in the cinema. I think
Yeah,
we were the people
yeah.
that enjoyed it in the cinema.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. John Boyega and Callie Spaney, before she kind of became Callie Spaney.
God, yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, I forgot that. And, like, she's the kid in this, basically. But it's like Pacific Rim's already a bit of a Saturday morning cartoon, but it's also one that's got, like, quite a bit of feeling and the whole kind of, like being drift compatible thing. In this, it, like, they almost just completely fucking ditch that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, do they like each other? Yeah, alright, fine. They can fucking do this thing that takes Rinko Kikuchi and Charlie Hunnam the entire fucking film to get on board with last time round. So this one just goes for completely, almost like fucking Power Rangers. Like, spoiler alert for Pacific Rim Uprising, Charlie Day is, like, in love with a kaiju brain, and it's infected him, and now he's kind of like the hidden evil. Like silly bollocks like that. But John Boyega...
like mind controlling him or something like that, or exploiting him via mind control.
Yeah, it's like when him and Bern Gorman like mind melded with the kaiju thing at the end of the first one, it kind of like unlocked a door in his head.
That was it, yeah.
But then like there's it says to Bern Gorman earlier on, oh, you should come around when you can finally meet Alice, and then there's a scene where Alice is just a brain in a floating brain in a tank. And then he kind of puts this like thing on his head and basically starts to have an orgasm. It's fucking wild. But weirdly feels quite low stakes, even though it's, about kaiju trying to fucking end the world. But it's just very much got an episode of a cartoon feel to it. Yeah. But John Boyega, very, very, very charming. Scott Eastwood, not bad. Completely fucking forgot he was in it, as you do with Scott Eastwood, but he's actually alright in it.
Have you ever seen Scott Eastwood? This is the thing. I don't think Scott Eastwood is that great or is that great a screen presence, but I've never seen him actively be bad in anything.
No, he's a fucking skin job.
He's a skin job
of Mike,
who happens to have
calls those types of actors.
Yeah, he's a skin job, but he just happens to have a pretty famous dad.
Quite. But no, look, I mean, I think this is all right. It doesn't look as good as the first one. The score's not as good. It's kind of a lesser sequel, but in a way, it's also more of what you'd actually expect from the premise of Pacific Rim than maybe the first one actually is. But also a good couple of references, like Charlie Day says, like, "Oh, you're Stack of Pentecost, Dad. Oh, have you ever heard Stacker's speech about cancelling the apocalypse? That was really good." They actually kind of reference just how good that speech is a couple of times in this film. I don't know. It's fun, but I mean, it didn't make an awful lot of money. Like, weirdly, Warner Brothers did the first one. Universal were like, no, there must be a sequel to Pacific Rim Uprising. After no, there must be a sequel to Hellboy that also Universal did. But yeah, it's fun. It's fun. That's probably all you want, really.
All you need.
But like I say, but it doesn't look as good as the first one. I remember like just how good the first one looks with all the neon and stuff. You don't get any of that here. Anyway, and then this morning I watched The Running Man.
Oh, nice.
So I like The Running Man. It's
silly as fuck.
Very, and it's very RoboCop. There's a bit where like it's like showing what's on a TV, and it's a show called Climbing for Dollars, and it's just like this person climbing a rope with a bunch of vicious dogs under him. Just fucking climbing up a rope trying to grab money with his teeth.
The thing is, you're watching it, as you've watched it like throughout the years, my brain's got further to, I mean, that show might exist.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's not exactly prescient, but there's definitely some themes that feel like they've bled through into real life. But I mean, like, yeah, Schwarzenegger, good value. The start where like he's flying the helicopter.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, fire on the innocent civilians, and he's just like, you can't ask me to do. No, I will not. And it's like, but hang on, what's your job? Like, this is the first time you've been asked to do that, really. And I don't know. This is the first question that came to mind there, but I don't know, man. Like, you've got fucking Jesse the Body Ventura playing. What's his name? Captain
Freedom, is it?
Yeah, it is something like
Captain
that.
Freedom,
like, yeah, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And great. That's what you want. Richard Dawson is such a shit. It rules.
It's got
his death at the end.
Yeah.
Absolute all timer. Like, just goes through that tube and then flings into a billboard of his own face, and the whole thing just massively blows up. Great.
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of the films we talked about this week, it is like, I know writers who use subtext and they're all cowards.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, Fleetwood's in it, playing Mick Fleetwood.
Mick. Yeah, no, I mean, that's amazing. I've got to say, actually, just going back to the substance briefly, that is, I know writers who use subtext and they're all cowards, the movie.
It really is.
I mean, that's a great thing for that film.
Yeah.
But look, The Running Man, it's really entertaining. It's like 100 minutes long. It gets in, it gets out.
Yeah, if you put me on a plane, I'll throw up. No one will notice on this shirt.
The shirt, yeah. No, that's good. That's really good.
That's one of my favourite fucking throwaway Schwarzenegger lines ever.
And there's a lot of them, even though I do have to say, Sub-Zero, now he's just plain Zero, is maybe not one of the best.
It's not. I also like the fact that he's saying some of these things. It's like, who's hearing this?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's great. Edgar Wright doing a Glenn Powell starring remake is interesting.
It is, because it's going to have to be quite different to this.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking hell. It's got one of my just favourite on-screen deaths in it, and it's the guy who's running. It's like the death. It's just the visual of it. The guy who's running, that's head explodes after he's got through the barrier, and it's just so fucking unceremonious. His head just explodes and he just falls to the side
because it's just like a wide shot.
Yeah.
And it just happens. It very matter of fact. But God, they're screaming at him, don't do it. Yeah. Like, they give him enough notice.
But I love the fact that you can visually tell, because of the shape of the guy's body, that his head is just tucked forward and he can't actually see where he's running. And there's just essentially a fake head that is going to explode, that you can palpably tell that, but you don't care.
That's great. Yeah, Running Man, good stuff. But that's it from me. So, do we have questions?
We do, yeah. Let me just get
cool.
them up. Ooh, also, we did have, unsurprisingly, the substance definitely not shit 100%.
Great stuff. Good.
Questions. We have a couple. Zombie Vish.
Hey.
Francis Ford Coppola giving his own film 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Legend or trash?
I mean, fuck it, why not? They got to do something, haven't they? It's like it's going to be a historic bomb.
Yeah,
like the kind of thing talked about for years.
Yeah,
in terms of he put his money in. That's how badly it's gonna do.
It is almost like Michael Cimino bankrupting a studio, just levels of you fucked around and you found out, but you found out yourself, you idiot. It's just, yeah. There's such a weirdness, I think, to it with Coppola, in the sense that with Francis Ford Coppola, there's a strong possibility that there are 4 of his movies in possibly my top 20, 30 movies of all time. And yet, I would never describe him as one of my favourite directors. And he literally directed my favourite movie. And it's such a weird... And I think it's just because... I think he has had points where he's been an incredibly talented director, but I also think the guy's an arsehole.
Yeah. And I mean, the film itself is like, I'm looking forward to it. I think visually it looks really interesting. I'm really, really worried it's going to be a film completely of the mind of a guy in his 80s who has nothing of any real relevance to say about society anymore. I'm worried it's going to be really boring.
I'm worried it's going to be really boring.
That's my concern.
I'm worried it's going to be old man yells at cloud, but what if that old man was Vito Corleone just before he died at the end of The Godfather? It just, just a guy sat in a fucking vineyard just fucking shouting nonsense, and you're there going, what do you have to contribute?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not on.
Worried.
But yeah, fuck it. Give it fucking 5 out of 5. You know, if there's one thing that fucking Francis Ford Coppola always has, it's confidence in himself.
Yeah, fucking right.
And Dylan says, with Demi Moore back in The Substance, which on or off-screen person would you like to see back?
I'll probably just say take The Substance.
Somebody that's like gone away that you just like to see kind of back in shit.
Need to check something.
I feel like we're not allowed to say like Jack Nicholson or what's his name, Gene Hackman.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose those ones are pretty obvious, aren't they? I mean, if the guy hadn't died a few years back, I would have said Yaphet Kotto, but
yeah, he feels like he just kind of like disappeared off bits, didn't he, for a while? Oh, give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, I've got to have to think about this.
I mean, as an actor, I would still like to see on screen more Billy Crystal, because
that's a good answer. That's a really good answer.
He's funny. He's not, to my knowledge, and touch wood yet. Please don't let me down on this, Billy. But I think he's actually come out in kind of like criticism of people who've done it, namely Richard Dreyfuss. But he's not come out and kind of like said, you know, oh, wokeism's killing comedy or anything like that. He's been quite kind of like... He seems like he'd have a decent understanding of, do you know what? Maybe as a guy in his 60s who's been very successful and very wealthy for 40 odd years, maybe I don't have to contribute to this dialogue. So I would say,
which is the right answer.
Yeah, it is. It's in the same way as when all the Me Too thing was coming out. There is an element of, no, guys, you just need to shut up and stand back for a little bit. And in terms of, I'm going to throw in a filmmaker one as well. I wish that this guy did more. Wayne Kramer.
That's a good shout.
Because The Cool is good.
I mean,
Running Scared is fucking great. Crossing Over's not very good. I'll admit that. But Pawn Shop Chronicles is a fun movie.
I mean, if I could do a filmmaker as well, John McTiernan.
Yeah, that's a good shout. That
Going Out on Basic is not great.
Yeah.
I mean, at least it's not Rollerball, don't get me wrong. But, yeah. In terms of stars, I mean, like, the closest one, I mean, like, he was in a major film this year, but Wesley Snipes, I want to see him back as, like, a leading man presence, or, like, a really solid supporting role. And I know he did, like, Dolomite Is My Name and whatnot, but it feels like he just pops up every now and then. And it's like, nah, do you know what? I want Wesley Snipes in a film, in a decent role, a couple times a year.
Yeah, because he kind of, before he became, like, Wesley Snipes, like in the mid-90s, with like Passenger 57 and things like that, and Murder at 1600, and Wesley Snipes vehicles, he'd quietly, since like the late 80s, for like 3 or 4 years, he'd been in a lot of like character actor like roles, and then he became the Wesley Snipes bit. So he's got form for it. He just doesn't seem like he can be asked that much.
Yeah, which if that's the case, then fair dues.
But I also think there's an element of him now that he's a bit like, I spent a good like portion of like my career being a prick, and I kind of regret it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him and Woody Harrelson do something again.
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Yeah.
That would be lovely. Yeah, good call.
I still think that the big... I enjoyed the reimagining, the retooling of White Men Can't Jump, but it wouldn't have taken a lot to have got the two guys that they play ball against, that's the similar bit to the end of White Men Can't Jump, should have been Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson. I know they're both guys in their late 50s, early 60s. You wouldn't have needed to have them, like, a lot of, like, shots of them doing jump shots and shits like that. You could have used camera fucking trickery and got doubles in. They should have done that. It doesn't feel like it would have actually cost that much, and it would have just made for a better overall movie. And of a movie that I actually quite liked. But yeah, that'd be mine. I'd go for that. I'd go for, Wayne Kramer, make more movies. It's been like 11 years since your last one. And Running Scared is genuinely a fucking banger of a movie.
I haven't seen that for a good long while. Nice.
Fucking weird, that movie. What are we covering next week, Ian?
Okay, so next week is Megalopolis.
Are we doing Wolves as well?
Yeah, why not? Yeah. Fuck is on Apple TV, isn't it? So may as well. Alexandre Aja's Never Let Go's also out, but that, I don't know. Like, I just watched that at fucking home. I'll be honest. Like, I'm not really not bothered by that.
Is that the
rope one?
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I watched that at home.
Yeah, quite. But yeah, Wolves and Megalopolis. So that's a couple of biggies, I'd say.
I'd say so. Yeah. How long is Megalopolis?
2:20, 2 hours 20. That is.
Yeah, that's about. That seems about right, actually. That. That don't bother me too much.
Okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it'd probably be 2:10 without like before credits. So it's like, okay,
fair enough. That looks like there's enough substance in it for that. It might be really boring substance, but there does look like there's enough going on for it to justify that runtime.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay, there we are. We managed to do over an hour show by a way as well. So, Mark, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ian.
There's nobody else to thank. Fuck you, Jason, and we'll see you next time, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.